Stoked to have you on. Where in the world can we find you today?
I'm currently in Manhattan.
So let's start with the really depressing stuff out of the way first. What's the status of savings in the US for Americans? Give us the broad overview. It's not a pretty picture, is it?
Yeah, it hasn't been a pretty picture for a long time. I mean, I think it's more top of mind now than ever, given COVID, that bad things can happen pretty quickly, and that people need to think about, saving more and being more financially robust in the future. But we're still in a position where almost half of Americans can't come up with $400 in an emergency, and 78% of people live paycheck to paycheck. Um, the personal savings rate hit an all-time high in May, so people are saving more as a percentage of their income. A lot of that was driven by stimulus checks and things like that. So we'll see how that goes from here. But hopefully disaster makes people think more about saving going forward.
Yeah. What are sort of the core issues? Are Americans just crappy at savings? Do they not make enough money? Do they just love playing the sports betting on the weekend? Like, what's the main issue here?
I think it's a combination of all the things you mentioned. But one thing that we're especially focused on is let's separate some people. They don't make enough money to really set enough aside for saving for a rainy day. At the same time, there are statistics out there that show that Americans spend 80 to 90 billion dollars per year on the lottery. And that comes out to about 640 to $700 per household. And so the reality is that a lot of Americans are finding room in their budget to buy things like lottery tickets, which I'm not here to say it's an irrational decision from a emotional perspective and other perspectives, but from a purely financial perspective, the lottery is pretty much the worst gamble you can possibly make. And so there's a lot of overlap between the group I mentioned before, half of Americans, not being able to come up with $400 in an emergency, and people spending over $650 per year on the lotteries. If those same people just saved that money instead of spent on the lottery, they would have that money in the bank potentially. Um, so there is an issue with human behavior as well.
Bit about the origin story for Yotta and what you guys led you to starting the company.
So in the UK, there's something called premium bonds, which a lot of Americans, almost every American, probably hasn't heard of, but most people who've lived in the UK are familiar with. And it's basically a system there that's run by the government where people save money. And instead of getting paid interest like you typically would in a savings account, you get the chance to win a prize every month. And the prizes range from £25 to £1 million as the jackpot. And basically, for every pound you put into the system, you get one entry to win a prize. This has been around in this form in the UK since the mid 50s or 60s. I forget exactly the date, but over time, it's become the number one savings vehicle there. So over a third of the British population participates in it, and there's over $100 billion in savings in this system. And so it's been hugely popular in the UK. It wasn't premium bonds, but this type of savings account called a prize-linked savings account or a lottery-linked savings account really dates back hundreds of years. And even in the last, call it 30, 40 years, not only in the UK has it been massive, but in New Zealand and South Africa and a bunch of other countries. But it's a relatively new thing to the US.
So danced around it enough at this point. Let's hear what Yotta actually is, what you guys actually do. Tell us about the company.
Yotta is a savings account where instead of earning interest like you would in a traditional bank, you earn the chance to win prizes on a weekly basis. So for every $25 you save, instead of say getting 1% interest like you might at a different bank, you get one ticket every week. So let's say you save $100, you get four tickets. You get those tickets every single week. Each ticket you pick numbers on. And basically every week there's winning numbers that we select, similar to a lottery. It's not a lottery, it's a sweepstakes. And the more numbers you match, the more you can win. And the prizes range from 10 cents all the way to a jackpot of $10 million.
Oh, damn. Anybody won that yet? What's been the biggest payout?
Not yet. You might win it soon though. I think if you got to keep depositing more, and maybe it'll be you. But the biggest payout so far has been 5,000. Any deposit made into a Yotta account, the funds are held at an FDIC insured partner bank. So the same way your funds are FDIC insured at Bank of America, up to $250,000, it's the same exact thing.
Talk about the prizes. I'm assuming you said no one has hit the biggie yet, but on average, like in any given week, are people actually winning? Is it rare for people to win? What percentage
Yeah.
of people? All that good stuff.
So right now, on any given week, if you only have one ticket, you have a 2 to 3% chance of winning something. The most common prize is going to be the smaller prizes, obviously. Right now, the 10-cent prize is the most common. It's the smallest one. But you could win up to, we have a $1,000 prize, the $5,000 prize. We have $10 prizes, $15 prizes. It's really the more you match, the more you win. And I don't know offhand the exact percentages of those, but let's say you put $100 away, you have 4 tickets, and any given week, you have about an 8% chance to win something. And so even if you don't win the big one, you've still got the excitement from it, and you still got the what helped you motivate you to save in the first place.
So A, it checks the box of do no harm. B is it creates this nice funnel of incentives, where your brain, that the little part that lights up when you win something, it keeps people engaged and interested. And this is why I love this. And this is why it works. Like, it very clearly works in places like UK. There's another country that's really popular. And there was and you can correct me, where?
New Zealand and South Africa are the ones that have public data available that really show how popular they became. There's also a slew of other countries that have these programs, but there's no real data available.
But I could easily see politicians listening to this podcast and other policymakers scratch their head and think, why aren't we doing more of this? This seems so much more beneficial to our constituents than something like the traditional lottery, or the big focus just acquiring customers. How do you get the word out? What's the future look like?
Yeah, a lot of it's focused on acquiring customers, and then the other, I guess, half of it is focused on building a better product from both a app fun standpoint, but also becoming more of a complete bank offering, whereas right now it's this very simple limited savings account. And so for a long time, it was just me and my co-founder on the team. We've been growing the team, hiring in the engineering and marketing departments primarily. And so the focus over the next 6 months on the product side is adding things like a checking account in addition to a savings account, and a way to spend from the account, a debit card. Things like allowing users to open joint accounts, allowing users to designate a beneficiary on the account. So there's a lot of these basic banking services that our users are asking for and that we need to have in order to be a place where people want to put more of their money and do more of their banking from. So that's kind of one side of the coin, I guess. On the marketing side, our growth has been primarily driven by referrals. So if anyone refers a friend, they each get 100 tickets into the next week's drawing. And that's really driven almost all of our growth so far. We are now focused on other channels and exploring how else can we acquire users cost effectively. So we're going to be experimenting with lots of different things. One thing that's worked really well for us so far, in addition to referrals, has been partnering with influencers, especially YouTube. So if you look us up on YouTube, there are a lot of videos about us and a lot of people signing up through those referral codes. And so doubling down on the influencer strategy and looking into other channels in addition to accelerating referrals. On the app itself, one thing that has worked really well for us and has helped us grow so quickly has been creating a very social feeling experience in the app, so people want their friends to join. And right now, the way we do it a bunch of ways, but we find that, so we have this leaderboard in the app where during the week, you can see how lucky your friends are this week. At the end of the week, you can see who the biggest winner was. So we find a lot of people engage with their friends either offline, just texting each other like, oh, do you hit the number? Things like that. So we're trying to make the app as social an experience as possible while preserving, privacy, given some people, there's a lot of sensitivity around finances and privacy. But an action people typically do with the lottery is play with friends. They pool tickets together and they can win together and things like that. So one of the big features we have coming out hopefully pretty soon is the ability to create groups with your friends
Mm.
and share tickets. If you contribute 100 tickets, I contribute 10. If we win, we each win pro rata to the extent we contributed, our share of tickets. Um, and so we are focused on helping drive that social experience as much as possible. So hopefully now you want to invite more friends because you want them to join your group, and it helps with our growth. And so we're very focused on the social piece.
Where you just
I
draw
wish.
numbers out of a hat.
I wish that would be fun. Maybe one day. So right now the way it works is we have weekly contests. Every week there's 7 winning numbers that get revealed. And the way we do it is we drop one number every night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Through right now it's just an animation that happens if you open the app. The idea here is to sort of make it fun over the course of the whole week. So maybe it's Thursday, 3 numbers have been released. Maybe one of your tickets is 3 for 3. So all day you're like, oh man, you're looking forward to that number and staying alive for the 10 million, and maybe you'll talk to people about it. So the way we do it is we drip it over the course of the week. So you find out how much you won for the entire week on Sundays. And on the back end, again, the way the drawing actually happens is we work with this third-party insurance company, and they're the ones choosing the numbers.
Not even know. I just check my account one day and have $10 million in there.
You might. That'll be a fun surprise.
That's great. What's been the challenge? I mean, you guys are so new. It's so short, but you've been having some pretty astonishing growth. What's been the most challenging moment so far? Has it been building it, putting together the team? Has it been COVID? Has it been what?
Yeah, the biggest challenge, I would say, for me personally, I'm a first time founder. It's my first time going through all of the company building processes, and it's a lot to manage in terms of hiring and investors and all these sort of company things you have to deal with. And just I would say that's been challenging, but just take some time to get up to speed on all those things. I think from a company perspective, one of the big challenges we have is, as a consumer fintech company where people need to trust you, people are downloading our app and they're linking their external bank account, they're depositing their money. We need to establish trust. And as a new company, it can be tough to get people to trust you. It's a bit of a chicken and egg problem because right when we launch, there's no app reviews, there's no press coverage, there's none of that stuff. And so who is that first person that's saying, oh, I'm going to download Yotta, I'm going to Google them, nothing comes up, and I'm still going to trust them enough to get started. So solving that trust chicken and egg problem has been challenging. And even now, I mean, we have 2,000 reviews in the App Store, 4.9 stars. We have press coverage. We have a lot more credibility now than we did 4 months ago when we launched. But it's still every day trying to figure out how can we build more credibility, because we do get people who aren't signing up because they're like, oh, this is a new thing, I don't know if I trust it.
The worst thing that can happen is you come on my show because I just distract you with 20 horrible ideas and extensions of everyone's company. I have
so
some old
far,
articles.
So far, you're on point. You've hit on some things that are on. You can go to our website, which is withyotta, YOTTA.com. From the website, there are links to download the app. But if you'd like, you can also just search in the Player App Store for Yotta Savings, and that's the best place to find us.